The spotlight hit Will Smith's perfectly groomed face as he stepped onto the stage, flashing the million-dollar smile that had made him America's favorite clean-cut rapper. Inside the Philadelphia Spectrum, 28,000 fans erupted for their hometown hero, unaware they were about to witness one of the most explosive confrontations in hip-hop history. When the Fresh Prince locked eyes with Tupac Shakur and openly challenged what he stood for in terms of street authenticity, what followed exposed deep divisions within hip-hop culture. It proved that sometimes the most dangerous battles aren't fought with guns, but with words that cut deeper than bullets. The date was June 22, 1995, at the Philadelphia Spectrum during the Hip Hop Unity concert, an event meant to close the widening gap between mainstream and underground rap. The lineup was historic. Will Smith represented the commercial, radio-friendly side of hip-hop, while Tupac embodied the raw, street-credible authenticity that was increasingly shaping the culture's identity. The night began as a celebration of hip-hop's range, highlighting how the genre could connect with both suburban teenagers and inner-city youth. Will Smith had just delivered an energetic performance of Summertime, and Parents Just Don't Understand, with a largely white, middle-class Philadelphia crowd singing along word for word. But as Tupac prepared to step onto the stage, the atmosphere began to change. The contrast between the two artists was instantly clear and heavily symbolic. Will represented hip-hop as mainstream entertainment, fun, safe, and accessible to mass audiences. Tupac represented hip-hop as raw social commentary, dangerous, authentic, and unapologetic in its portrayal of street reality. Instead of exiting after finishing his set, Will Smith made an unexpected choice. He stayed on stage to introduce Tupac. What began as a routine handoff between performers quickly turned into something far more charged and controversial. Philadelphia, Will said into the microphone, his voice carrying the same charm that had made him a household name. "We got somebody coming up next who represents a different side of hip-hop than what y'all just heard from me." The crowd responded with cheers, expecting the usual hype man introduction. But there was something else in Will's tone, a subtle challenge that members of the hip-hop community immediately picked up on. "See, there's been this idea going around that to be a real rapper, you gotta be from the streets. You gotta have been shot. You gotta have sold drugs. You gotta have done time," Will continued, his voice sharpening slightly. The audience was still reacting positively, but industry insiders and dedicated hip-hop fans in attendance began to sense that this wasn't a typical introduction. "But I'm here to tell y'all that hip-hop is bigger than that," Will said. And now the challenge in his words was unmistakable. Hip-hop can be positive. Hip-hop can be uplifting. Hip-hop doesn't have to glorify violence and destruction to be authentic. As Tupac walked toward the stage, he could clearly hear Will's words through the backstage monitors. His expression made it clear that he understood exactly what was happening. This wasn't just an introduction. It was a direct philosophical challenge to everything Tupac stood for in terms of hip-hop authenticity. "So now," Will continued as Tupac reached center stage, "let me introduce someone who's built his entire career playing the role of a gangster. Someone who's convinced a lot of young people that you can't be real in hip-hop unless you're promoting violence and criminal behavior." The energy in the arena shifted instantly. The cheers turned into confused murmurs as the crowd realized they were witnessing something unprecedented, one major rap artist publicly questioning another's authenticity in front of thousands of people. "Ladies and gentlemen," Will said, his voice now edged with clear hostility, "the fake gangster himself, Tupac Shakur." The silence that followed was overwhelming. All 28,000 people in attendance understood immediately that this had gone far beyond normal rap rivalry. It had become personal, a direct attack on identity and credibility. Tupac stood at center stage for a moment, absorbing what had just been said. His face reflected disbelief, anger, and visible hurt, emotions clear to everyone in the venue. When Tupac finally raised the microphone to speak, his voice carried a controlled intensity that felt more dangerous than shouting ever could. "Fake gangster," Tupac repeated, his words echoing through the massive arena. "Will, did you just call me a fake gangster in front of my own people?" Will Smith didn't back down. He appeared fully committed to the confrontation he had started. "I called you what you are," Will replied, "an actor playing a role that's destroying our community and our culture." The accusation landed hard, But Tupac's response showed why he was regarded as one of hip-hop's most formidable figures, both lyrically and personally. Actor. Tupac's voice rose, though it carried more pain than rage. Brother, I've been shot 5 times. I've been to prison. I've been fighting for my life since I was born. What part of that is acting? The crowd fell completely silent. It was clear this had moved far beyond entertainment and into something deeply personal and cultural. And you, Tupac continued, now locking onto Will with sharp precision, you've been acting your whole career. You've been pretending to be from the streets while living in Bel Air. You've been rapping about being real while your biggest hit is about how your parents don't understand you. The contrast Tupac laid out was harsh and unmistakable, and the impact could be felt across the entire venue. But here's the difference between us, Tupac said, his voice growing stronger and more commanding with each word. I never pretended to be anything other than what I am, Tupac said. You built your whole career pretending to be something you're not. Will's response made it clear he had anticipated that kind of counterattack. What I am, Will fired back, is someone who chose to use hip-hop to build people up instead of tearing them down. What I am is someone who refused to glorify the same violence that's killing our young people every day. By now, it was obvious this wasn't just personal tension. It was a deep philosophical clash about hip-hop's purpose and responsibility. Glorify violence? Tupac replied, his voice filled with genuine disbelief. Brother, I don't glorify violence. I document it. I talk about the reality young people are living in, so maybe somebody will finally pay attention and try to change it. He motioned toward the audience, many of them young Black and Latino fans who had come specifically to see him. These kids don't need me to tell them about violence, Tupac continued. They live with it every day. What they need is someone who understands their reality and speaks their truth. Their truth, Will challenged, or your version of their truth. Because most young people aren't gang members or drug dealers, even if that's the only story you tell about us. Will's criticism carried weight, and it struck Tupac in a way that simple insults could not. But Tupac's reply showed why he was seen as one of hip-hop's most thoughtful and articulate voices. You're right, he said. The admission stunned the crowd and even caught Will off guard. Most young people aren't gang members, Tupac continued. But the ones who are, the ones trapped in situations they can't control, the ones society ignores, they deserve to have their stories told too. He paused, allowing the words to settle before making his strongest point. And here's what's really fake about what you're doing, Tupac said, now speaking directly to Will while still addressing the entire arena. You're standing up here acting like positive rap and street rap can't exist at the same time. You're acting like there's only one way to be authentic in hip-hop. The crowd began responding more positively, recognizing that Tupac wasn't